Hi and welcome back to Love on the Brain, the podcast that helps you transform tough emotions into questions that serve you better. I'm your host, Kay Van Dunk, and I help independent women who are single, divorced, or widowed find their soulmates while staying true to their high standards. In each episode, we dive into a frustrating question you may have about love. I'll share some insights, and then we'll reframe it with an affirmation or ask-formation to help you lift your spirits. An affirmation is just a question reframed in a positive way to help your brain search for solutions, or at least shift your mindset. If your brain's going to be on repeat, might as well give it something helpful. If you haven't already, please subscribe and leave a great review on whichever platform you're listening to this podcast on. Your reviews help other amazing singles find this podcast too. All right, now let's get started with today's question. And that's, am I being too picky about choosing soulmates? Now, this is a two-part episode because there's duality there. Kind of like the A side and B side of a record, which I feel really old saying out loud. But there is duality there. Either you're being too picky or not picky enough. In your opinion, anyway. And dating preferences are always a tricky question to ask yourself. There's a fine line when it comes to what you're looking for when you're looking for a soulmate, or even just dating in general. It's a balancing act of being selective on what you're looking for, but also staying a little bit open to possibilities. And that's a line that only you can figure out for yourself by getting a little bit curious. Because I hate the phrase, be realistic. It makes me want to gag just thinking about it. There is a way that society can pressure women to settle. And a lot of it has to do with being quote unquote realistic about what you're looking for in a mate. Because instead of assuming that you might find someone who fits the standards that you're looking for, you're kind of told in many options, especially as you're a little bit older, to just take what you can get, right? Settle or just lower your expectations, which is the worst possible thing. Not the obvious choice, which is just to wait for your soulmate. So if you're worried that you might be a little bit too picky in choosing your soulmate, take a minute to evaluate what you're looking for. What are your deal breakers? What are your preferences? And I consider deal breakers things that you absolutely cannot deal with in a relationship. For some, it might be smoking. For others, it might be having kids. Then contrast that with your non-negotiables. Those are the things you absolutely want in your partner. And that might be something like he must be caring or she must be loving and nurturing. Then take a look at your preferences. And preferences could be flexible for you. Those are things that might be, for example, you want to date someone with green eyes or someone with a really great fashion sense. Now, everybody's different, and some things that might be on someone else's preferences might be on your non-negotiables and vice versa. So look at your list and then compare it to your core values, your life goals, and then ask yourself if you're being too picky. Are there things on each list that don't really match or align because there's nowhere for them to match or align? That's a little bit of clarity. Maybe your list of preferences is really long and what you thought was a non-negotiable really is a preference. And there needs to be a little bit more balance in what that looks like. Maybe your list of deal breakers is so long that you haven't made a little bit of room for non-negotiables. So try to find a little balance if that's not the case. Now that you've looked back on your list, think about whose voices in your head when you're thinking about, are you being too picky? Is it yours or someone else's? Get curious about where this question is coming from and what it's bringing up for you. because that list is data and it tells you what you're looking for and how it compares to your goals and your core values. And now that you can see them side by side, you can really see if you are being too picky or just discerning, right? Because discerning now puts it in a place of you being thoughtful about your choices. And not everybody's thoughtful about what they're looking for. So it might be a foreign concept to people that put no weight into finding soulmate love. It's about balance, not perfection. You're looking for alignment with the person who will ultimately be your soulmate. So just check in with yourself as you move through dating and make tweaks where you need to. So we're going to go back to the original question of the episode, which was, am I being too picky about finding my soulmate? And we're going to flip that with an affirmation. And that is, why do my preferences perfectly align with leading me to my soulmate? Okay? Repeat with me the affirmation again, out loud. Why do my preferences perfectly align with leading me to my soulmate? Before we close each podcast, I love to focus on gratitude because it's the highest vibration of all. Think of one thing you're grateful for in this moment. As always, I'm grateful that you tuned into my podcast and love you for listening. And remember, when love is on the brain, asking better questions can lead to better answers. Imagine waking up every day knowing you're one step closer to the soulmate who truly gets you. The Soulmate Wishlist Blueprint is your first step in making that a reality. This isn't just a list, it's a roadmap to attracting the love you've always known is possible. For 2 days, I walk you through getting to the meat of what really matters in a soulmate and letting go of what's been keeping you apart. If you're ready to step into the love you deserve, the Soulmate Wishlist Blueprint can help you create the clarity and definition you need to call in your soulmate. Are you ready? The link's in the show notes. Download it for free now and begin the powerful shift that brings your soulmate into your life.